Alrighty, so the first topic I want to cover is immigration. So a lot of people in this election, they voted for Trump because of his standpoint on immigration. A lot of people liked that he was very anti-immigrant. They liked his his wall proposal. And so I want to just kind of go through that mentality that he has and the sort of things that he's proposed and just debunk everything because so my parents are both immigrants from Mexico. I'm full Mexican and I'm also an American citizen. So I feel like I see both sides, whereas Trump, he only sees one side and he doesn't care to see the other side. So um, yeah, and I understand that a lot of people are going to have disagreeing viewpoints with this. Again, like, I'm not making these videos to fight with anyone. If anything, I'm making these videos because I really enjoy talking about politics, and everyone tells me to shut up when I try talking about it with them. So I just really just, like, I'm just talking to myself in these videos. Like, if you guys even watch, like, it's fine, it's whatever, but okay, anyways. So, the number one thing that I hear from people that they dislike about illegal immigrants specifically is the fact that they are taking social benefits from the government and they don't contribute. So, with that being said, I just want to clear this up. Okay, it's illegal immigrants don't qualify for government benefits. Okay, it's not up for discussion. It's a fact because a lot of people will say, "Oh, like how come illegal immigrants are taking so much money from welfare? They're not even citizens. Like that should be for our citizens." And it's like, okay, like you're right. It should be for our citizens, and that's why illegal immigrants don't qualify for welfare or for these other social benefit programs. Because if they applied for these programs, these agencies would see that they weren't American citizens because they don't have a real social security number. They don't have an American ID license. They don't have documents. And so once those agencies would see that they're not legal citizens, they would be deported. So it's really not up for discussion whether these immigrants are taking welfare benefits because it is in law that they don't qualify for it. And even legal immigrants, they have to have lived here in the U.S. for 5 years to qualify for those programs. So when people say, like, when they say to me illegal immigrants are taking all this government benefits, it's actually not true. And the benefits that they do qualify for, however, are school funding for their kids. So, and again, a lot of the times illegal immigrants, their children are born here, so they're citizens, so they do qualify for this kind of stuff. So they get school funding for their kids for kindergarten to 12th grade, and it's law for everyone here to be attending school, so that makes sense. And they also will sometimes receive emergency medical help. So that just basically means if they were to go into a hospital bleeding out, they wouldn't be just left there to die. So when you really think about it, they're not taking from the government, and I don't know why this lie is spread so much. So the other part of that lie is that they don't contribute into Social Security, and then they're still taking from Social Security. So again, many illegal immigrants, when they come here to work, there is labor laws that are trying to keep employers from employing illegal immigrants. So for these illegal immigrants, what they have to do is they get someone to make them a fake Social Security card, so they receive a fake Social Security number, or they just obtain one that used to belong to someone that has maybe died or something. And so those Social Security numbers aren't linked to their name or their bank account or any information for them, but it's just used for the purpose so that they can put down a number to apply for a job and then to apply for taxes. And so, yeah, when they are working, they're still contributing into Social Security because they're paying their taxes, and then because that number isn't real or it's not connected to their name, they can't collect the benefits from Social Security. And actually, illegal immigrants are a huge reason as to why the U.S. hasn't fallen into a shortage of Social Security funds, because they are always contributing to the system, but they can never collect from it. So that's, another huge thing that is like to be said against illegal immigrants, which is also false. So my other thing that I want to, and another issue that a lot of people are really concerned about is that illegal immigrants are taking our jobs. And that is also not a true statement, because it's not a fair statement, first of all, because if someone who's an illegal immigrant who doesn't speak English, who hasn't adjusted to a new culture, to a new country, who has no connections, who is barely setting up their life in America, if that person can take a job over you, then that is, you are accountable for that. There's something that you could have done to fix that. It's just, you shouldn't be not getting a job. Like, they're not competitive, and that's the other thing. A lot of people will say that more immigrant workers will make like wages competitive for native workers, and that's also not exactly true, because native workers, they tend to in lower skill jobs, they tend to go for jobs which involve customer service, the use of the English language, while as these illegal immigrants are going to jobs that don't really require them to speak English, like just labor jobs like agriculture, construction, cleaning, restaurant work in the kitchen. So it's really not that competitive, and I would say makes the wages competitive for immigrants, but not against native workers. And so again, these people are also taking jobs that many Americans would never want to work. So without them, like, we would need a huge source of human capital. And actually, Trump is always talking about how we need to beat China, and he's right. They recently had an economic miracle where everything's been going great for their economy, and everything's been gradually growing, and a large part of that was due to their huge human capital. And the U.S. right now is actually the population is, so it would make sense to want more immigrants coming into this country to work here and to contribute to this economy instead of another country's economy. Because if you look at it, the more industrialized a country becomes, the more women who are joining the workforce and leaving behind traditional roles, the less people are getting married, the less amount of kids are being had. So population is declining, and we do need more human capital. And more human capital means more jobs, more growth in economy. So we need migrant workers. We really do. Okay, I'm sorry. I feel like I might be losing some of you because it's not exciting, but it should be. Okay. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. So maybe this will be a little bit better. Okay, so I actually just saw this tweet that some of y'all on my timeline just liked, and it's by Donald J. Trump, and it says, Mexico was just ranked the second deadliest country in the world after only Syria. Drug trade is largely the cause. We will build the wall. Okay, so to all of you that like that tweet, I just want to say I better not see y'all in Cabo next year, and y'all better not do drugs ever again, because okay, that's the other thing, people will talk about drugs and Mexicans, and now we're bringing in all the drugs, like, Susan, okay, I just seen your boy Tommy taking a hit of that cocaina on a library table, so how about you go preach that stuff to your own son before you talk about us? You don't even know us. It's like, I don't know why crime is so largely blamed on immigrants, because actually over spring break I was really bored, so I made a PowerPoint on immigration. And so I have all my facts on there, but I honestly don't, I feel like it doesn't matter how many statistical facts I put out there for you guys. It's just not going to matter or click or make sense anyway, so I'm just going to talk about my logic instead. Studies actually show that cities with larger immigrant populations have a smaller percentage of crime of a crime rate in their cities. And okay, this one is hard for people to understand. Okay, being an illegal immigrant does not mean you are more inclined to crime. People will say, "Oh, they're all criminals. They cross the border illegally," and it's like, okay, fine, whatever. But because they cross the border illegally does not mean they are more inclined to crime, right? Does that make sense? Okay. So that brings me to my next point. Trump's proposal for declining the amount of illegal immigrants in this country is building a great big giant wall. And for anyone who thinks that this will work, that this is a good idea, slap yourself in the face. I'm just kidding. Okay, but seriously, this is a terrible idea. Because, okay, so first of all, I just want to talk about the fact that illegal immigration, especially from Mexico, has been such a hot topic, that it was such a big issue in this election that it ultimately swayed the election in Trump's favor, is interesting to me. Because if you look at it, immigration from Mexico has been actually rapidly declining, meaning more people are going back to Mexico than there are coming in. So, Trump likes to paint this picture like there's millions and millions pouring in from Mexico every day, and that we need to stop it now. And it's interesting that this issue was such a big deal now when immigration is actually going the other way. So I honestly think that this is due to scapegoating, because I think that people want to hear a reason as to why jobs are leaving the U.S., as to why the economy is not doing as great as it should be, as to why there's crime here, and the perfect scapegoat is illegal immigrants, people that Trump doesn't care about, people that are easy to attack, people that are easy to blame. And I think we should be careful and see who is talking about this, who's blaming who, because, for me, it's like people like Trump are the ones who are ruining the economy and who are trying to distract your attention from them. But anyways, back to the wall. This would be a terrible idea. It would just be a huge waste of money, because when you're trying to solve such big issues like this, you need to find the root issue and solve it from there, and to end it forever. The wall is just, it's just going to be a waste of money. It's not actually solving the issue. The reason why there's so many immigrants in the US isn't because there isn't a huge wall there. It's because things in other countries, they're not as great. People are fleeing here for religious freedom, political freedom, economic freedom. They want a better life for themselves and for their kids. They're coming here to find jobs. And so that's the root issue. And if we actually want to have a solution that solves this problem, then the U.S. is going to have to expand and help these countries, with diplomatic advice, helping them set up systems, helping them maybe even have like a political revolution. But we need to do this without a war. We can't go in there and just destabilize their government and cause a civil war, because most of the time that leaves countries worse off. What should I say? And I know a lot of people are very nationalistic and they just want to, keep all funding into our own country. I get that. But if people truly have such a big issue with immigration, as apparently they do, seeing as, the results and the sort of things that I've been hearing against immigration, if so many people in the U.S. have that big of a problem with immigration, then this is how it has to be solved. It has to be solved by, we could even create jobs out of this, sending people into other nations in order to help set up programs, systems, something like that. Because when things are good in other people's countries, they don't leave. And that's how you will solve the issue of immigration. So going back to the wall, would be a huge burden on taxpayers, first of all, and it wouldn't be solving the issue, because if you look at it, most illegal immigrants are actually here because they did have visas and they flew over, but they just overstayed their visas. So the wall wouldn't even be stopping that many immigrants from coming into the States anyways. It doesn't even solve it doesn't solve the main issue. It doesn't even solve one of the bigger issues. It's just something there to make it seem like something's being solved, but really it's just a big waste. And I'd also like to point out that one of the bigger arguments from the conservative side is, oh, they're not being fair to everyone that's waiting in line. So first of all, you guys should know it's not just a line that you get into at the post office, you know. Becoming a citizen or applying for a green card, this takes years, it takes money, and those are probably the two biggest things that people who are trying to come here don't have. They don't have the time to wait, and they don't have the money for it. So, it's not as simple as people think it is. It's actually a very complex system. And I hate it when people say they're not being fair to the other people that are waiting and doing it legally, because I hear so much like hate and honestly racism coming from people who are saying this, and it's like, you do not actually care about the people who are waiting in line, first of all. And then the question comes, so, okay, Karina, how do you propose we fix this? And honestly, the solution that I think is going to be the best one is creating an easier pathway to citizenship. And this should make sense on both sides, because what conservatives say, what Republicans say, is that their issue isn't with immigration. Their issue is with illegal immigration. So if immigrants are going to be here in this country, either way, whether it's legal or illegal, wouldn't we want them to be legal? Because that's apparently what everyone has an issue with, illegal immigration. So doesn't it make sense to have an easier pathway to citizenship, to make it so that more people can be legal? And if that doesn't sound like a fair solution, then the issue might be something else than just legal versus illegal. And people will come back and say, oh, overpopulation. Again, population in the US is actually going to be declining, so it's not really an issue. So that is, I tried to cover as many points as I could think of off the top of my head. I really didn't have anything prepared. I just started talking, and I'm already have spent way too much time on this. So I'm sorry thank you for watching. If I didn't bore you to death, those are my thoughts on immigration. And just be good to people, guys. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next video.